You're listening to Wild Things and Wild Places, a Muley Fanatic Foundation podcast that aims to discuss issues and efforts related to the Muley Fanatic Foundation mission, the conservation of mule deer, furthering the sport of hunting, and sound wildlife management.
Everybody knows I'm a Muley Fanatic.
It's time for Wild Things and Wild Places. And here's your guide, Joshua Coursey.
And welcome to another episode of Wild Things and Wild Places. And I am elated to be able to have this conversation today. Many of us hunters that take to the field this time of year, we start looking at our gear. We start looking at things that we have that we've used for years and years. And then we start looking at things that we wished we could add to the repertoire of gear. And I want to talk specific about something that may not be at the top of your list when you initially think about going to the field. You might tend to think of things that could fit in your backpack or things that you would carry. But no, I want to talk about how you get to the field. And that is something that, in my mind, always revolves around it, particularly in the West, something that is a four-wheel drive. And I'm talking truck or UTV, and I want to talk about seat covers. Yeah, I know. When you think about seat covers, do you really think about how important of gear that really is? There's a bunch of different qualities of seat covers on the market, but I have found, as you heard last week with the donation of the F-150 from First Choice Ford, we have outfitted the Muley Fanatic Foundation truck with these incredible seat covers, and this has blossomed into something more than just a business transaction. This has developed into a relationship with the incredible experience that I had firsthand in dealing with Covers and Camo. So I'd like to welcome to the show today the owner and founder of Covers and Camo, George Burnett. Welcome, George.
It's great to be here with you. Looking forward to this. Thank you.
Well, I have had the privilege of being able to do some research on Covers and Camo. Of course, my initial visit was with your team. Alan, who was just an all-star. He's great customer service. And I do want to start at the beginning because this started with me and the dealer of the Ford dealership having a conversation about we really would like to be able to put a camper shell on the truck that he was providing to us just so we could keep our gear secure and dry of the elements. And he said, you know what, I'll get the camper shell. Why don't you take care of the seat covers? And I said, okay, I could do it. Yeah, that sounds like a great deal. I'll do that. When you start looking online at seat covers, there is a ton of different seat cover companies out there. But I landed on Covers and Camo. I got on the website, and immediately this text box pulls up, and it was 9:30 at night. It says, got any questions, shoot us a text. I sent a question, got a response, said, it's after hours, but we'll be with you first thing in the morning. And at 8 o'clock sharp, the very next morning, I got a phone call. I was like, wow, this company they've got their hands on this. They know what they're doing.
Customer service is number one for us. We're going to make sure our customers are taken care of every time. We're going to make sure everybody's happy. Definitely satisfied, but happy is our goal. I tell our team, we're making happy customers. We've done this for many years. Alan is a superstar, as you said. Superstar team. We really pride ourselves in giving the best customer service that you're going to find out there in the industry.
I can affirm that. I do believe that, hands down. I think what struck me as such an important component of this and why I wanted to further this conversation to have you on direct was that you were a locally owned business, a family-owned business, which is very important to me. And when you're a family-owned business and you operate a custom seat cover business that specializes truly in custom but yet rugged, tactical, if you will, the incorporation of all the MOLLE gear into the seat covers, being able to have the flexibility of options of how you're going to make these covers function and work for you and your gear. I was just impressed from day one and have only become more impressed as I've got to learn a little bit more about the story. A business that you started 40 years ago in Utah, continue to have the production and manufacturing all in North America. Let's go back 40 years, if you will. I do think it's important that people understand what they're buying is important, but who they are buying from is equally as important.
Let's go back, and before we go back, let me start with now and some of the really cool things we've got for hunters. What we've got for hunters now is what I'm in the mountains of Montana, up here in Montana, built my own log cabin when I was just out of high school. I've got renters that have been there for 15 years. They didn't want to leave, so I have to build another one. So anyway, I love the outdoors. I love designing things that are great for us that love the outdoors, love hunting, but want to have great and important gear with us. We got to carry our gear and be prepared. One of the things that we designed about 15 years ago, this came together. Here's what's important for this group of listeners and for us that love outdoors is the pockets and accessories that go with the seat covers. You can get seat covers from a lot of different places, as you mentioned. And sometimes they're pretty good and sometimes they're really bad. And people have bad experiences with seat covers. They're like, oh, they fall off, they don't stay. They're just garbage stuff. And then there's some mid-range stuff. And then there's some pretty good stuff. And then we've got the nicest, most customized seat covers in all of North America, in that country. And they're the nicest, most customized seat covers you can do. And then one of the really cool things I want to mention up front here is the pistol holster and our Muley gear pockets that for hunters that love to have their gear and be organized. Those are some things that are exclusive that we designed here on Covers and Camo. Neil and I, Neil's actually my partner, my son. So it's like third and fourth generation now, going on to fourth generation in the family here because Neil's son, Liam, is going to be with us. So Neil's my partner, my son, my partner now. And so we designed 15 years ago a pistol holster. A customer came in and said, George, into my shop, I had a sewing machine going and they're in Vernal. And he said, George, can't you, he was wearing a pistol on his side. We're Second Amendment kind of guys. And so he says, can you design a holster to go on the side of my seat cover you're doing for me that I put it on my Ram truck between the seat and the console and my pistol falls down? I don't want to wear it on my belt all the time because your seatbelt will go right over the top of your pistol, right? If you need it, you want to be able to access it. And so he says, I just tuck my pistol here between the seat and the console, but in time it vibration bounces, it's going to fall down. And it does. And so he says, can't you sew a holster on the side? So he showed me the holster he was wearing. And I said, yeah, I can design one. So I sewed a holster on the side for this gentleman and thanked him because now we've done thousands of our seat covers. You can have a holster on the side of your seat covers right there sewn on. It fits a variety of pistols. So then that was great. So we started doing that. And then another customer, it was right before Christmas. This is coming up on 15 or 16 years ago. Customer came in and said, I want a Christmas gift for my husband. Actually, this lady came in and said, I want pockets on the front of the seat that are large enough for pistols to go in these pockets on the front. And so 30 years ago, I was sewing the seat covers in my first shop in Provo called Mr. Trim Seat Covers. And I was sewing pockets on the fronts of seat covers that were not big enough pockets to put a pistol in. They were just right behind your knee, basically. Put some gloves in or something there, keys in it or something, maybe a cell phone. Anyways, this pocket I designed for this Christmas gift for their husband, for this Ram truck again, was a deep pocket, big enough for large pistols to fit in. And then I put Velcro across the top edge, so it opens and closes with Velcro right on the top edge. It's 9 inches deep, 14 inches wide, nice deep pocket. And we started sewing those on. And I sewed many of those on with my sewing machine there. Then I added Muley webbing to go on the face of that. So you can I put a clip-on pocket knife on the outside, a tire pressure gauge, small little tactical flashlight clipped on the outside of that pocket. On my Polaris Ranger, I've got a first aid kit on the outside of that cool pocket. On first aid kit, Muley webs on the outside of those pockets. And so these are some things that are exclusive. No one else in the industry has offered those. If they copied us, it'd be a blatant copy, and so they just haven't. So we've got some really cool things that for hunters and us guys that love gear and being organized and being prepared, a couple things exclusive that we do that we love doing. We're always thinking, how can we make not only a great cover, how can we provide a great cover for our customer, but a seat cover to protect their truck, yes, looks great, customizes the truck, but add these other functionalities. And those are just a couple of things. There's more, but a couple of things that really add value to the hunter out there and the sportsmen and sportswomen as well. A lot of covers for women as well for their trucks and side-by-sides too. But anyway, those are just a couple of things I wanted to add right up front here. That's what kind of sets us apart. When we get excited about having things that are functional for our sportsmen and women out there and really help them be prepared. And then how about now we jump back to the beginning, if that's okay?
Yeah, no, that's great, because I'm glad you covered that, because that's like getting that hook in the water right out of the gate. You really got to go to the website, coversandcamo.com. We're going to go and we're going to back up a little bit so you understand the history of Covers and Camo. But when you get on their website and you look at the different varieties of material that are available, I will tell you, for the Muley Fanatic Foundation, the material that we selected is part of their Canvas Gold series. I was looking for something with a lot of durability. With our youth hunts that we do in the fall with kids with terminal illnesses, we have a lot of people in and out of these vehicles when the weather elements are not always conducive to keeping things nice and clean. So we wanted something that would have the durability, but I was blown away by these seat covers when they came. They're made from 600 denier nylon, but then they come with their own foam backing as well. It was like adding a cushion, not just a seat cover, to the seats. I was very impressed. I will tell you that, George. I was extremely impressed. So I reached back out to Alan and I was like, hey, we need to do a podcast. We need to tell others about this. One, it's a family-owned business. Two, it's made in America. I love that. I think the older you get, that becomes more important, especially just in the climate of which we live in within this world of global trade. But supporting a locally owned business is a high priority for me. But then the customer service just blew me away because it was what I would expect. If you could write down, this is what I hope for when I am making a transaction with a business, what their customer service looks like, you checked every one of those boxes. The follow-up, when it was going to be shipped, the notifications when it had shipped. Across the board, it was first class. So I know you've had a lot of time to build this business, and it started 40 years ago. But George, hats off to you. You've done a great job.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you. It's what we hope for. It's what I hope for if I'm going to be buying something. I want to be able to talk to a representative. I want to be able to get service. We're just best in customer service, and we're going to deliver you a great product, top rate. Really, you can do anything from our Gold Series, which is our best fitments, best options, most custom options you can do on this thing. You could do everything from camouflage to camo and crocodile. Okay, you can
ostrich,
ostrich, diamond stitched ostrich, simulated leather, so much easier to maintain than real leather. Affordable and yet really easy. Wash it down with water. You get some, you get in, you got some deer blood or something else when you get in from the hunt. You just wipe it down with water, hot water, a little soap, clean these things up. Super easy to maintain and critical. We protect these trucks. You got this brand new truck, Joshua.
Right.
Our customers, brand new 2024 trucks, and those brand new ones coming out, and they're expensive trucks now.
Yeah, side by sides. I was just going to say, side by sides are the price of what I used to think trucks sold for.
They're $40,000 now for some of the new ones. So protect it and protect the asset that you have, and with something you're going to enjoy the experience of. The protection. So you're not throwing on some kind of blanket or some kind of cheap seat cover that's falling off. It's going to stay tight. It's going to look great. You can customize it with the pockets, even headrest logos. We got some cool logos there, or you can do your own. You can take it to an embroidery shop and have them embroidered on. We got some always good ideas for you because we're always thinking, how can this be a great experience for our customer? How can it be functional, protect their truck and their side-by-sides, or their cars and their vans as well. We do those as well, just full range. But how can we make this experience just the best ever? And it started 40 years ago. Started back, my mother sewed them in 1977, 76, I think is actually the year I started. I was just in high school. She sewed them and I installed them at a shop here in Montana. I learned how to install. Eventually, I opened my own shop called Mr. Trim Seat Covers in Provo when I was a 30-year-old. With a couple little kids, and I was going to college, and I was actually going to college in Utah, BYU, and I was like sitting in math lab going, I got 3 kids. I'm sitting here in math lab, again, not making any money. Let me just go back and let me just open that shop up and fire it up. I knew how. I'd been trained, and so let me leave school. Didn't finish. Started a seat cover shop called Mr. Trim. Everybody thought I was a weight loss or a beauty salon. Mr. Trim. It was automotive trim. Didn't everybody know that automotive trim? Anyway, so right from the start, I worked hard, put some seats out in the street, built my signs, painted the building, had a great location, and kicked it off. And Neil was a toddler, and now he's my partner. So this is 35 years ago. And just dug in and had a very successful shop from the beginning. Eventually, Neil and I, years later, he grew up. You fast forward now, Mom's 95. She's still doing great. I look after her, and so she's still doing great. And so now Neil's my partner. We started covers and camo in 2008, so that's been 15 years ago or so. And he was going to college to be a physical therapist. He graduated. He worked for me part-time through those years. We started a website. We did hunting shows. We've done everything from the Western hunting show. We did that consecutively. We did consecutive shows at the Western Hunting Show in Salt Lake. We're there every year at the center of the show. And then we've done everything from the Safari Club show in Houston and Dallas. We've done the shows up in Washington, the Puyallup shows up there. We've done shows, the fishing shows up there. Those guys put on some good shows up there. And then we've done the Texas Trophy Hunter shows. So we love connecting with our hunters and our outdoor men and women at these shows. We are only able to do really one show, and now we're just so busy, and which we're thankful for. But we do one show right now, and then everything else is online. And we still do a few installs in Salt Lake. Local customers, local meaning Wyoming, Colorado's driven in. They don't need to drive in for our install, but they do. They like it sometimes. Those are usually set up from the Western Hunting Show, where people would like us to, they pay us to do their install, and we get some good videos because they turn out great, looking good enough for videos and for photos for our website. So it's nice for us to be able to do those installs occasionally. Most of the time, we've got great videos for our customers. So install videos, you just write online, just watch how to, some good techniques that we've developed that are good tips. You can just watch the videos on, we've got videos, everything from the trucks to the side-by-sides, to the cars, to the vans. And we'll show you how to put them on, snug them down. And so that's a quick recap of starting 40 plus years ago to installing, to having my own sewing machine, which I still have. I was actually dreaming of a project last night on this for me, but I'm not the main sewer. There's actually sewers better than I do that sew the covers now. But I still like designing and thinking of how can the product that we deliver to our customer be the coolest thing for their truck, their side-by-side, for protection, for how it fits, how it looks, how it stays in place, how it has the coolest pockets. There's some pockets on the backside for rifles to go in called the special ops pockets. Got to definitely bring that up. 2 scabbards basically that go on the backside for a top row gun. And then you can put even on most of the trucks, you can put even another gun down below that goes side to side. We were part of designing to make sure that guns stayed in those pouches, that they were secure in those pouches, that you had MOLLE webbing at the top to put first aid kits, just accessories on the top, pockets in there for gloves. And there's 8 main pockets in this special ops package for your hunting gear, the Knox and hand warmers, and just all your gear you might have there.
Yeah, I want to touch on something on that, George. When we got the seat covers, when I opened that box and I seen right on the top this pamphlet with a QR code for scan here to watch the install video. My son-in-law, who is in his early 20s, these are seat covers. We don't need to watch a video. I was like, we're going to watch this video. Let's just watch it. I'm going to do a podcast with these guys later on, and I really want to watch this video. Boy, am I glad that I got him convinced that we needed to watch the video, the tricks. And here's the thing about custom seat covers. They are truly designed to fit as if it were the original seat. And that does require you to be able to get them as snug and as tight-fitting so that they are one with the seat. So you're not getting in this whether it's hot or cold, and these seat covers are sliding around on you. And it comes with some tools, and it looks like a plastic knife, if you will. But that becomes critical when you're absolutely trying to get that perfect fit around the center console or around the seatbelt plastic below the actual seatbelt mechanism. To get these right, you do need to watch and take a few minutes and watch the install video, but you're going to be better for it. And where I will also go with that, you mentioned the special ops package. All of these different pockets that come to attach to the MOLLE gear on the back of these seats. Immediately, I started positioning in my head where I thought each of these would go. I always like to have gloves. I always like to have electrical tape. The first aid kit was already there. My wife immediately gravitated to the larger bag and said, I'll put this on the passenger seat and it'll go with the toilet paper. It'll be on your side. I don't need to get out. The options are just amazing. But I think it's a testament to the thought that you have put into being able to make this as functional for the folks that are buying these. And so, again, my hat's off to you on that. One thing, George, I wanted to ask is, where is the place for the side-by-side industry within your business? I got an indication from Alan that you're almost selling more side-by-side seat covers now than you are full-size pickup truck seat covers.
Oh, man. That's a huge market. I was on my Ranger yesterday of the weekend, Labor Day weekend. I was hauling brush, and so they're so functional. These side by sides save your pickup for other kinds of other work to do, and use your side by side. And so functional, so handy. And on my side-by-side, I've got an older Polaris Ranger, and I've got the Molly pockets on the front there. I put my cell phone in there a lot of times. I have a first aid kit on the outside of that, ready to go. I'm up in the woods by myself. I've used it. So anyway, we're functional, and we sell really functional seat covers for side-by-sides, and we do a lot of those now. Yeah, it's a huge market. We do some really cool things with them as well, like crocodile, ostrich, combine it with camouflage. We got 20 plus different camouflages you can choose from. Again, crocodile, ostrich, camouflage combinations. You put the Molly pockets on there. And then we got headrest logos, American flag. I've got on mine, on my Ranger, American flag sewn on the headrest logos there. This customizes it really good. The seats that you buy, these nice side-by-sides, the vinyls on them are not really heavy duty. And so it's such a good idea. Get a cover on there right away. If it's an old machine that's cracked up, yeah, that'll work too. Throw the cover on and keep it from getting worse, keep the phone from getting cracked out and getting all wet, but the new ones as well. And so we got all the patterns available for almost every side-by-side out there, and the new bolstered seats in the Polaris Rangers and the Can-Ams. Fitment is second to none, and we're one of the leading in the country as far as side-by-sides. There's a lot of companies that don't do side-by-sides. A lot of seat cover companies out there, but not a lot of people that tackle the side-by-side market. So we specialize in that as well. So we love pickup trucks. We love side-by-sides. We do those other truck cars and vans and everything else too. But pickup trucks and side-by-sides is where because we're just sports guys. We love being in the mountains. Like I said, I'm in the mountains of Montana right now. And we love being up here in the mountains. I work remote from the cabin office in Montana, actually, is where I worked from. The elk in the backyard and the moose beside my hammock. And
little piece of paradise, it sounds like.
So we love being on these machines as well, those side-by-sides, and we do a lot of that, and then a lot of the pickup trucks too. So love doing what we do. I love connecting with people that love what they do. We really love what we do. We have a great team that supports it as well. Dale's not on the phone as much. He manages a lot of the business. I run a lot of the sales team, train them to really have the best experience. When our customers call in, I just train them to give our customer the best experience ever and just enjoy the process. People should read our reviews, read the reviews of people that have experienced this, and we just try and make it a great experience. I don't know if we have time to talk about some of the things that we're passionate also about conservation, and we're passionate about resources, ability to get out in the mountains as well. Resources like oil and energy resources.
Yeah, so I did want to get there. And George, perfect segue, because in addition to your notoriety and what you've gained and have earned over a career of detailing this to the finest level, you've also been a very proud American and showcasing your support for our energy independence. You were also known as the I Love Drilling Man, in addition to other hats that you have worn over the years. But it was really your willingness to want to honor the working man and to shed light on the importance of being energy independent and the support of our natural resources that we've been blessed with in this nation.
Blessed in this nation is absolutely right, Joshua. Blessed, Lord blessed. We're Christian kind of guys. We believe the Lord blessed us, this nation, with these things, and we need to recognize that, be thankful for that, honor that by utilizing it in proper ways and conserving it, and also getting it out of the ground and to where we can utilize it in a safe way and in a environmentally friendly as we can. There's still going to be some impact out there, right? It just is when we live lives. But get it out of the ground, get it here safe, and get it environmentally as sound as we can. And so, yeah, I came up with it. I went out to the oil field of Utah. A quick story on it here. The economy tank. We had just opened up a new shop in Spanish Fork, Utah. Cowboy town of Utah, one of the cowboy towns there, Spanish Fork. Great rodeo there, Spanish Fork, Utah. I said, I'm going to open a shop in Spanish Fork. So we opened it up, Yale and I, January 1st, 2008. And July, the economy had tanked, okay? It's a housing market had fell apart. Guys stopped driving their trucks. Diesel was $5 a gallon. And back then, people were freaking out. Today, it's 3 and 4. But today, back then, $5 a gallon, guys stopped driving their trucks. And we had just opened this shop, and it was third week of July. Customer comes in. He says, I just got my front seats from you. Man, I love them. I'm going to do the back seats now. How's it going? I said, terrible. You guys aren't driving their trucks. And he said, hey, it's booming in the oil field. Money in their hand. I said, which direction? He said, 3 hours straight east. I thought about it for 2 hours. I called him back. I said, you know what? I'm going out there. I'm going to check it out. Drove out there the next day. Threw a sleeping bag in the back to my van. And the I Love Drilling van. And our covers, it was covers and camel van. We hadn't put I Love Drilling on it yet. some seats for displays, went out to the oil field, stood on the street corner, smiled and waved at people with a sign that said seat covers. They started stopping and throwing money at me and said, "We want seat covers." And I said, "Great." I took a list, took money, came back weeks later, installed them all, and thought I should stay in this town. So I drove out each week. We were living in Provo, drove out there, slept on the grass, slept in the back of my van, sold seat covers by day. And a few weeks of doing that, I said, you know what? I'm going to make a sign that says, "Honk if you love drilling." That's what this town is about. If you love drilling and oil and energy and supporting the American working man and woman, I'm going to make a sign that says, "Honk if you heart drilling." Made a sign, took it out on a Friday afternoon, smiled and waved just like I'd been doing my cowboy hat, cowboy boots at the town, and they started honking. And it just took off. People started supporting it, stopping, and said, you need some stickers that say "I love drilling," some hard hat stickers. So we came out with an "I heart drilling" hard hat sticker, trademarked it, sold hats and hoodies, opened up a juice bar called the "I Love Drilling Juice and Smoothie Bar" right next to the seat cover shop. I said, I'm going to charge liberals an extra $1 for their smoothie when they come in.
I love it.
It made national news.
Yes, I remember that.
Fox News. It went all over the place. And the point was, Joshua, is we need to have a conversation about fiscal matters of our country, because we're going to go broke if we don't have a conversation. And your fiscal policies are costing us a lot more money. Do you understand that? Those policies that you have, those liberal policies, are going to try and push us to green before time. We need to get this out. We need to honor the American working man and woman, honor them, be thankful for them, and say, I love drilling. I recognize that. I'm grounded enough to recognize that we enjoy it. We should be thankful for it. We should honor that and say, I love drilling. So that was the message behind it. Went viral, went crazy. It was a lot of fun. I had death threats from liberals that was like, you can't be doing this. I was like, guys, let's connect the dots here. We did a parade supporting oil and energy. It was called the I Love Drilling Parade, or the 4th of July Parade of the Vernal. We had 60 semis in the parade. We just had the best time. And one of my favorite floats was a float that we designed for the veterans. I had about 20 World War II veterans on this float. They volunteered to be on the float and be recognized and be honored. And it was centered around a World War II veteran named Hugh Richens from Vernal that went to war for us. He went to war from Vernal as a 20-year-old, got shot at his tank, paralyzed. One of the other guys got killed in the tank. Another guy got his arm taken off. Hugh got paralyzed. Came back eventually years later after lots of rehab to Vernal, married a girl from Vernal, became a photographer. VA put him through photography school, and he took photos of an original parade, an oil and energy parade in Vernal, 1953. His wife was on that float. He took photos of it, and I saw this photo. I was making a calendar for supporting just American working man and oil and energy, and I saw this photo, and it was so intriguing. I just knew there was a story behind it. I recreated that float with the granddaughters of the ladies that were on the float in their swimming suits and hard hats on a float called the Desk and Derrick Club. Now, those of you that are listening that are in the oil field might know this name, Desk and Derrick. It's for women in the oil field that wanted to be professional, and they wanted to not just be in the office. They wanted to know what's going on out in the field. It was started in 1952, and I found out that it was still an ongoing organization. I called the number, and they said, no, we're still an ongoing national or international organization for women. Men can join if they want, but it's for women in the oil sector, and headquartered out of Houston, I think is where I called originally. And so I recreated this float called the Desk and Derrick float, found the granddaughters of the ladies, found 3 of the 4 ladies that were on the original float in 1953 still alive, brought them back from Colorado and from Utah, and the mayor happened to have a 1953 convertible. He said, I'll drive the convertible. We'll put the ladies in the back seat. You can have any convertible. I had 6 or 7 of these. He was a Ford dealership owner. Great guy, great mayor of the town, supportive. He had a 1953 Joshua Dodge Ram truck. It was a Dodge truck back then. Dodge truck, 1953, flatbed, just like the original float. He loaned it to me. I had a Derrick built on it, found the granddaughters. We had 60 semis in this parade. It was the biggest blowout. It was so fun and so supportive of the oil and energy. And so it was, the town told me it was officially the longest parade in Vernal's history. We had our section, the 4th of July parade. And long stories behind it, but we had a tank on one of the floats that we hand painted plywood cutout tank, honoring Hugh Richens, who died just 2 years before this. I know it was his spirit that was really directing me to put this whole parade together. The ideas flowed to me at night, just incredible. But anyway, that's our passion to support the American working man and woman and oil and energy, and recognizing that this nation is a God-blessed nation and a light to the world. And we've been given resources, honor those, be respectful of those resources, get those out of the ground and deliver them so that we can have the lifestyles that we love today. And so that's some of our passion. It's not where the seat covers are, the business side of it, but you also, I think it's good to know the core of who you're buying from, who are you spending your money with, and who's the core behind that. And that's some of our core right there. So it's a fun story to share just because it's the core of part of who we are really, and what we love to do, and who we like to honor and recognize and remember. Our servicemen and women, we do some really cool things for our servicemen and women and our first responders and police force. And also, I think we have a little bonus. We're going to talk about a little bonus. I know I'm not sure our time frames.
Yeah, I do want to get to that, George, but I want to, only because I know that folks may remember this. You referenced it, but the I Love Drilling juice and smoothie bar and charging liberals $1 extra per drink. Walk me through that when someone come through and they see the price difference between a conservative and a liberal price for a smoothie.
So my dad passed away 6 years ago. I grew up with him saying, doggone those liberals, the Democrats, they can't, he's had a hard time comprehending sometimes that between conservative values and the liberal values. Okay. So I just grew up with conservative, strong American values. Okay. So I'm out there in Vernal with a sign that says, "Honk if you love drilling, drill it." And I remember one guy, it was out of stater, drives by, I won't mention the state, I won't throw them under the bus. And I smile and wave. I'm cowboy hat, cowboy boots, smiling and waving at the town, all the out-of-towners coming through in Vernal, Utah. It's a great dinosaur country and so forth, and oil field, and so people are coming through. And I smile and waving, and this guy looks and flips me off. I'm like, what? And I'm like, what? And so it just bothered me that some people didn't. He was driving. He's driving back out of state. He's just filled up probably the gas station across the street. How come he can't connect the dots? How come he can't say be thankful? And I'm giving a good smile and a nice wave, and he flips me off. So I'm like, I opened up my juice bar, and in between some seat covers, I did some health and wellness marketing nationally. And I love juicing and being healthy and making good, healthy smoothies. So I decided the town really could use a good juice and smoothie bar, and I really don't want one myself because I'm here, true story, in a sleeping bag for most 5 nights a week away from home underneath my sewing table. I didn't even have a hotel room. My wife and kids are back in Provo and Springville, and I came out there, worked all week long, and slept in a sleeping bag. But I needed a kitchen juice bar, so I decided, let me just open a juice bar, and so that I have at least my own juice bar, and maybe if people come in, that'll be great. And I decided, let's call it the I Love Drilling Juice and Smoothie Bar. We had some really cool drilling rigs in there, photos and drill bits and other stuff, just drilling paraphernalia, cool stuff. A big map on the wall of where all the rigs are in the country and how many rigs, and a lot of cool stuff. And I decided that the price for conservatives was going to be less and the price for liberals was going to be more, because I need to have a conversation with as many liberals as I can about fiscal policies, as I mentioned. So I decided that I'd just charge liberals an extra $1 more than conservatives. And we just put it right on the price board. It said liberals, it was, I think back then, it was just a number of years ago, 2000. And so it was conservatives were $3.95 for a large smoothie, and liberals are $4.95. And right underneath it, it said, yes, liberals pay more here. And so conservatives and liberals on the price board, different price. And it was not, again, to irritate people, but just we should have conversations. And boy, did it bring conversation. So we opened it up. We're doing this. So KSL had already done a few stories on the I Love Drilling guy before, front page of some of the newspapers. We're opening it up. We're doing a little grand opening, giving away some smoothies. And in walks one of the reporters from, I think it was KSL who came in. Anyway, he comes in to do it. He said, George, can I do a video clip, a news story on you? Great, do it. And so he interviews a bunch of people, does some videos and so forth, says it'll be on 10 o'clock news. And that they aired it that night, 10 o'clock, looked great. Said, yeah, he's charging liberals an extra $1 for their smoothies. and it leaves a little sour taste in some people's mouths. That's a little pun there. Anyway, so I thought they represented me pretty well. Honest story. Sometimes you don't get that when the news is showing you, but honest story, I'm charging liberals an extra $1. And so it rolls out the next day. I was 10 o'clock news. The next day, the phone's ringing off the wall. I'm trying to make my sons, Isaac, one of my other sons was working with me at the time, said, Dad, the phone's ringing crazy. And people are asking about I Love Drilling and story and so forth. And charge the liberals an extra $1. I said, we got a lot of things to do here. Let's just we got a grand opening. We got to roll this thing out. I had done a Facebook post that said, big board that about the size of the I Love Drilling board that said, yes, liberals pay more here. And that went viral on Facebook. And so the word was getting out there that, yeah, there's a guy in Utah that's charging liberals an extra $1 for their smoothies. Anyway, it went crazy. And I get a call from Fox News. So I call them back. They said, if we send a limo to Vernal, Utah, will you limo back to Salt Lake and do an interview on Fox News? I said, man, send the limo. I'll do that interview. So we had a great time. Just again, the point being is we've got to have fiscal, conservative, good values to save our country financially. And that was part of my way to bring that conversation up. And it brought a lot of good conversation. The Associated Press called me, and then the Huffington Post calls, you've kicked the hornet's nest around a few times. And they said, can we run the story with you? I had a big dinosaur in the background board that I was holding, smiling and waving. They said, can we use that photo in a story we're going to release? We want your permission for that photo with you and your photo. I said, you got my permission. They called back 30 minutes later and said, we have one more question. I said, oh, man, be careful, George. They've had time to think about it.
Yep, strategy at play.
Yeah. How is the Huffington Post going to trap this guy that's charging liberals more money? Okay, what's up their sleeve? They said, we have one more question. How do you identify a liberal? I said, well, here's what we do. The price board is right above my employee's head. And when the customers walk in, we just say, what price are you? And we point up above, and the person reads the board. It says, let's say liberals are $4.95, conservatives are $3.95. And we say, what price are you? And we let them tell us what price they're going to choose. They ran the story. So if people want a little fun, do a DuckDuckGo search for Vernal Smoothie Liberals, and you'll see the whole story, okay?
Oh, yeah. And the videos on the website, it's worth looking at. It's entertaining for sure. But the deeper message there is, George, it really, and I'm glad you got to share this because it's really telling of who you are, the family business that you have built, what your family name means, and that namesake, not only with your mother, but your deceased father, and now with Neil and Isaac and the little tykes coming up the ladder. It's a true testament of, it's an American wholesome story that I just think will resonate with others, and I'm glad you were sharing that with us today because folks need to know what they're buying and who they're buying from.
Thanks. I like buying from people that I like. I like to buy from people, and I like to spend my money with people that I like to know who it is and a little bit about them. You're right. And they need to talk. They can talk to us, our customer team, and if they ever need to, they can talk to me as well. But they're going to find that we're going to serve them. That's what my point was on. I stood on the street corner and smiled and waved at that little town of Vernal when I went out there. I said, listen, I will work hard for you. That was the energy I sent out. I will work hard for you. I will make sure that things go well for you. And I think that, and my point also, when I did the I Love Drilling story was that I Love Drilling doesn't just stand for charge liberals more and so forth. It stands for honor the working man and the women that not just are in their lives as well, whether or not they're working or not working and so forth, but honor each other, take good care and be good to everybody. I wasn't trying to be nasty to liberals. I was just trying to say, listen, recognize that we need to say thank you and recognize the resources that we have in oil and energy and other ways as well. But overall, let's work together. Let's be happy. Let's save our country. Part of that is fiscally, we've got to save our country. And boy, is that ever just so important. So it's been a lot of fun. Hey, we want to talk about that little bonus as well.
Yeah, I do want to end on that. And this bonus, if you're listening and you've made it this far in the podcast, you were in for a special treat. Because this is not going to be, there's not a link. You're not going to find this on the Covers and Camo website. And again, I do want to encourage you to go to the website first. The seat cover options are endless, really. The way you can mix and match patterns, whether it's for a truck, a Jeep, an SUV, a car, your side-by-side. You want to protect your back area for your dogs, waterproof, dog-friendly. But there are hundreds of fabrics available, and you can mix and match them. But the special offer, if you were listening to the podcast, when you go to make your order, you need to actually call. And you need to call 435-789-2270. And George has a special offer just for this podcast listening audience. If you listen and you call to make your order, tell them what they get, George.
Yep. And so you'll get 2 of our exclusive Muley gun pockets. That's driver and passenger. It is right there on the front edge of that driver's seat. So handy. It's for so many things. Driver and passenger Muley gun pockets. That's what they're called. On the side of the driver's seat, we put it in one spot. It only works really in one spot. Right-hand side of the driver's seat. We don't put it on the left-hand side, just the right-hand side. If you're left-handed, you can use that Muley gun pocket for a holster on the outside. So many different things. But just mention this podcast to our sales team and that you've listened to this podcast and that you want that bonus from this podcast. It's almost $120 in bonus pockets. Our Muley pockets are $99 a set. They're very functional. I tell our customers, you'll spend real money for our products, but you'll really love them, and you're going to get great service to back it up. Set of Muley pockets, driver and passenger, and a pistol holster. Exclusive things you can't get on any other sets of seat covers in the country out there. Because, again, we just have the nicest, most customized seat covers. That's our gold level. We have a bronze level that doesn't have all the pocket options. Our gold level, which is our nicest, most customized, most combinations of fabrics and most pockets and so forth. Bronze levels are good for just a construction truck that's just real basic stuff, which is good. Gold is where you want to be. And get those pockets. Just ask us. You won't find it on the website. You won't see us advertising that set. Just call us, tell us that you listen to the podcast, and hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. We enjoyed doing it, Joshua. I enjoyed doing it from my side.
I can tell you the feeling's mutual. Again, you're a great stand-up American, George. I appreciate your time on just being able to visit about this a little further, but I really want folks to go to the website, coversandcamo.com. There's additional products on there, UTV storage boxes, all-weather floor mats, cargo mats. George had mentioned the patches or the custom embroidery on the headrests. We elected to go with the Velcro patch. The morale patches, if you will, have become rather popular. People collect them. It's the options are endless, and you can really make these very customized to your own needs and use. But check out that special ops package. That'll put all, if you're a gear guy and you're a gear junkie, you like to have everything organized and with you, that special ops package is really the creme de la creme for sure. So.
Absolutely. I've got it on both of my trucks. The special ops will fit on really almost every truck there and every vehicle for us guys as well as the gals listening, and have the special ops on the backside. Get your gear organized in there. Everything from hand warmers to extra pairs of gloves. I got some basic tools in mine. I carry a toe strap in there. Jump starters are good to bring in. You can put your guns in there. Look at that special ops. Every one of us guys ought to have our wives with our special ops gear in so that they're prepared as well. And ladies that are listening, be prepared. Want to have these kinds of items. So special ops is a fantastic thing to add to it. So only available on the gold level is the special ops. And you can do a flex ops. You can learn about that's the flexible one that adds later if this strap on. But the best version is the sew on. Special ops is called. One other note: holsters only go on trucks. Only the holsters. We can only put those on the trucks. That you can still get that special offer for the side by sides with the Muley pockets. Just little clarifications there. But anyway, we'll clarify it. We've got a great customer service team. You can text in, as you mentioned early on in the conversation. You can text us questions. You can call us. We're open 9 to 5 Mountain Time, 5 days a week, and we're here to just make it a great experience. Get your trucks all ready to go, prepared, and save your upholstery and revitalize it and customize it.
There you go. You heard it firsthand. George Burnett, owner and founder of Custom Seat Covers and Camo. Coversandcamo.com. Don't forget that website. And don't forget to take advantage of the exclusive offer specific to this podcast. You do need to call in. Again, that phone number one more time, 435-789-2270. Coversandcamo.com. Check it out and then give them a call. Take advantage of that. As George mentioned, that's a $100 plus value with the 2 Muley gun pockets as well as the holster on the right side for trucks. So, George, thank you for your time, man. Good luck to you the rest of this fall. I hope the fall is good to you and a bounty of blessings to you and your family. And I appreciate you taking this time this morning.
Absolutely, Joshua. Best to you, best to your audience there. Have a great hunt season. Moving into fall. It's a beautiful time of year. The leaves are just turning here in Montana. Beautiful time. And best from the guys in the cowboy hats. Neil and I, we're the owners, partners. The guys in the cowboy hats, Texas cowboy hats that we enjoy wearing. We send our best wishes to your audience, and we look forward to hearing from them. Give us a call, text us in, and we look forward to helping them out.
Thank you. Happy trails, George.
And that wraps up another episode of Wild Things and Wild Places. But remember, the journey doesn't end here. Make sure you never miss out by subscribing. Whether you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, streaming us on our website, or following us on social media, subscribing is the best way to stay connected. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for more wild episodes.
Everybody knows I'm a Muley Fanatic.